and welcome to Spectrum News 1. I'm Allison Bruner. Our top story at this hour, it's day 12 of the Darrell Brooks trial. The prosecution continues its case. Spectrum News 1's Andrew Havranek joining us from outside the courthouse with the latest developments. Andrew.
Very active situation at this hour. As soon as we get new details, we will update you. Don't forget, you can find up-to-the-minute updates right now on our brand new Spectrum News app. But again, these details are coming in by the minute. Roughly 3 hours ago, here inside of the Brat stop, Kenosha County District Attorney Michael Gravely announcing no charges will be filed in the Jacob Blake shooting, meaning no officers will face charges.
Wisconsin is, of course, your home state. Across the country, experts are saying Wisconsin is the tipping point for this election. Do you think this is accurate?
I tell you here at the Tim Michaels Watch Party, the crowd continues to grow here. There is a very high level of energy. Supporters here tell me they still feel good about the evening, but some are saying that they do expect this to be a tight race. This is nothing unexpected. Of course, those latest polls in the governor's race showing this is a dead heat.
Aaron Rodgers describing today's win as a team win. By the way, Aaron Rodgers is now 5th all-time in career touchdown passes after today's win against Cincinnati. All right, Dennis, let's go back to the question we were talking about earlier with Mason Crosby. Coach asking him moments before that field goal, the final field goal, if he thought he could kick it.
Of course, you can't have a Bucks Parade championship parade without brats, right? Yeah. What does it mean that you're cooking brats during this parade?
Oh, this is fantastic. You know, the city of Milwaukee, we champions. We know how to be champions. We act like we were champions, and now we are champions.
We are world champions. All right, I want to also introduce you to my friend Dwight over here. Check out their signs. All the kids have their signs. Dwight's going to help me out here. What do you guys want to say? Bucks and 6?
Bucks and 6! Bucks and 6! Bucks and 6!
Shannon King works with at-risk teens, many who have an excessive criminal history in Wisconsin. Her goal, finding them jobs and keeping them off the streets.
On Tuesday evenings, you'll find Shannon King at St. Charles Youth and Family Services. She is busy doing last-minute preps before students arrive.
We're talking about driving and the dangers of driving reckless. We also talk about crime prevention and suicide prevention, healthy relationships and cursive writing and things of that nature. Entrepreneurship is a big one too. My number one is job readiness, because I make sure the children get a job within 45 days. That's my goal.
To the youth involved in this program, it is just community service. But to Shannon, it is service to the community.
At St. Charles, there's an alternative sanction program. So the judge, instead of making the children go into a detention center and be locked up there or go into jail, juvenile correction, they will allow them to do an alternative sanction program.
Nearly all of the students here have monitors strapped to their ankles.
Why are they here?
Most of the kids now are under this trend with the Kia boys and Kia girls, where they are doing reckless driving out here in Milwaukee and stealing Kia cars.
Everyone is under the age of 17 and is ordered to be here by a judge.
Y'all didn't volunteer to get here. Y'all didn't sign up for this. You guys did something to get here. So this is like somewhere where you guys are supposed to work on growing.
I sat down with 14-year-old Layla. Her mom agreed for us to do the interview.
I didn't tell on my brother, and I took the blood for his case, and they gave it to me.
She's got personal goals as well, like controlling her emotions.
I want to stop fighting.
During Shannon's workshop, some students are having their own conversations, some even get into arguments, but Shannon quickly gets them back on track.
Hey, you guys.
We checked back in with the class 5 weeks later to see how the students were doing. Did they continue coming to the court-ordered workshop, and is there any progress? Here's a closer look at what we found.
Remember Layla, who just so happened to be there the same day she got some exciting news.
I got off a bracelet. I got off a bracelet for not getting any violations. And they feel like I could go back into the community without getting in trouble or breaking any rules or no more laws. So
How do you feel?
I feel good. I don't know. I feel free.
As far as the rest of the students, most are no-shows today.
So some of the same students are returning 5 weeks later. Some students have come probably once 5 weeks ago, and they kind of have to start all over. Some of the children probably have committed another crime, and they were in DT for a moment, and then the judge said, hey, you can start your program over. I kind of want to help change the narrative, which is no more Kia boys. Let's see how we can get jobs. Let's see how you guys can be successful. Encouraging them at their pace. So becoming someone who gives them self-perception. Instead of telling them what to do, I help them understand and make sure they kind of decide on their own, hey, maybe I should fly this way instead of that way.
So the moral of this story, never give up. Shannon is helping to give last chance students an opportunity at success, and it seems to be paying off. Real life examples of success stories. A huge thank you to Shannon King and St. Charles Youth and Family Services for letting us come in and share this story. We are in the Lee Miles neighborhood right now, where neighbors tell me drivers are blowing past stop signs and driving recklessly. It's so bad, neighbors tell me dogs have been killed and they fear their kids are next. Look at these videos of viewer Ozzie Johnson shared with us. Drivers going at excessive speeds down Invermere Avenue. One driver even hits a light pole. Concerns like this is why Latrice Robinson reached out to me by email.
Just speeding vehicles. I mean, you know, our street is dangerous. We have parked cars hit. They blow stop signs.
People are just run stop signs all day, all night, middle of the night. You can hear them going down the street at 60 miles an hour, and you can tell that nobody stops. And you know, I've had 2 kids hit in front of my house.
A dozen stop signs stand on Invermere Avenue between East 169th and East 190th, and yet some drivers clearly aren't obeying the law. Even while covering this story, we spotted several drivers who failed to stop. And neighbors say it's been going on far too long. How long have you been fighting this?
At least 35 years, maybe more.
How can Cleveland 19 help you all?
Bringing it to the city's attention that we need help out here.
What do you want answered?
Where are the police? Where's the city?
Want our streets safe again, you know, I mean, because we have.
Thank you for joining us here on Spectrum News 1. Our top story at this hour, Bucks excitement is back in Milwaukee. The team returns to Pfizer Forum for their home opener against the Houston Rockets Saturday. Spectrum News 1's Philip Boudreaux has more from Bucks fans about with the Bucks season tipping off. It also means businesses in the Deer District will start to see a big boost in customers. According to Bucks Chief Marketing Officer Dustin Godsey, the games help attract more foot traffic to that area. We spoke to businesses ahead of this weekend's game, excited for the big crowds. The Bucks are playing their home opener Saturday night at Pfizer Forum against Houston. With 3 things to watch in the Bucks season, here's Spectrum News 1's Dennis Krause. Packers announced the latest roster moves and injury updates for Sunday's game. Wide receiver Randall Cobb and center guard Jake Hansen are on injured reserve. David Bakhtiari is considered questionable with a knee injury, along with Devontae Wyatt for an illness. The team activated Sammy Watkins off injured reserve, but still lists him as questionable for a hamstring injury. And linebacker Ladarius Hamilton has been elevated from the practice squad to the active roster. And be sure to flip over to Spectrum News 1 right after the game for the post-game show. Dennis Krause and Gary Ellerson are in studio this week with highlights and analysis. The post-game show airs after every Packers game this season right here on Spectrum News 1, as well as the Spectrum News app. The deadline to vote absentee by mail in Wisconsin is quickly approaching. Your request for that ballot has to be in by 5 p.m. on November 3rd. Clerks urge you to do that soon to make sure there's enough time to fill out your ballot and then return it. Your ballot must then be delivered to your clerk either in person or through the mail no later than 8 p.m. on Election Day. You can also get ready to head to the polls with your personalized voter guide on the Spectrum News app. We have all the tools and resources you need to know and to stay informed about when it comes to all of the candidates out there and where they stand on issues. Just scan the QR code and get ready to vote. The voter guide also breaks down how and where to vote in your community. Coming up, a creative take on Halloween sweets. One Wisconsin business is putting a little extra care into their scare this year.
This weekend, temperatures will be staying mild and well above normal. Keep in mind, though, a return to reality, and temperatures will be cooling down, and that kicks in rather quickly. I will have details coming right up.
This weekend on In Focus, deaths and hospital visits tied to drug overdoses continue a dangerous trend upwards across Wisconsin. We sit down with one county executive to explore the multi-layered approach in his community to save lives, including efforts to expand access to Narcan. Domestic violence on the rise in Milwaukee. The city's Office of Violence Prevention kicked off its 4th annual Love Without Violence conference to confront this issue. Domestic abuse survivors shared their testimonies, and other speakers helped those in domestic abuse situations find resources. Ashanti Hamilton is the director of the Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention. He believes one of the first steps to reduce domestic abuse violence in Milwaukee is by empowering culturally responsive organizations. A Northeast Wisconsin school district is using coffee to help teach students in its intellectual disability program skills they'll use outside of school. The Luxembourg Casco School District launched Spartan Coffee in March. 1 day a week, students make and deliver coffee in the high school and middle school. The goal, teaching them skills ranging from reading, a work schedule, to making eye contact and handling money. Each coffee is $1. Fazio's Chocolate in Elm Grove is gearing up for Halloween with some creative chocolates. The team saw how big Halloween has gotten over the past few years, and now they have 8 different types of Halloween chocolates, like candies looking like mummies, monsters, ghosts, and much more. For the owner, Cindy, it's been fun to create something new.
It's a lot of work to make chocolate, but when you get to come up with new ideas, it re-inspires you.
She says it feels good to make something that makes people happy. Her daughter is also involved with the business. You can find more information on this local business on the Spectrum News app. Concerns continue over bird flu and inflation. You might worry about finding your Thanksgiving Day bird. Luckily, though, the Wisconsin Grocers Association president says it is unlikely you will have any trouble finding your turkey. He says most grocers purchased their big and little frozen birds nearly a year ago and therefore should still have plenty of choices available.
People should be relatively confident that when they go looking for a bird for Thanksgiving, they're going to find one.
Well, there you go. Schultz says it is quite possible you will pay more for the turkey this year, but not an outrageous amount. Next, a cutting-edge gas station hopes to mitigate the amount of carbon dioxide being put into the air. That story and much more when we return. And hopefully you are enjoying the beautiful weekend across the state of Wisconsin. Look at this view from Bayfield before we head to break. A little windy there, but the sun is shining. Folks are out with no jackets. Great sight to see in late October. Stick with us. We'll be right back. According to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, there are millions of heavy-duty trucks on the road in the U.S., traveling billions of miles every year to deliver products. These trucks emit a lot of carbon dioxide into the air, which the Environmental Protection Agency says contributes heavily to our warming climate. Spectrum News 1's Taylor Bruck reports on a first-of-its-kind partnership bringing a clean energy fueling station to Ohio.
And like a week later, Russ and I showed up with a school bus, and they were like, oh my God, you guys did it.
It is Badger Pride like you've never seen before. After the break, we take you inside the school bus turned party bus. And from La Crosse to Lomira, this weekend felt like a flashback to summer weather. Meteorologist Lyra O'Brien with how long the sunshine sticks around next in your Weather on the Ones.